It's Tuesday, February 4. In the headlines, the National Housing Trust's Employer Arrears Amnesty Program. In business news, Paria-Petrojam signs $90 million deal with Trinidad and Tobago for fuel supply. Regionally, Trinidad and Tobago's Minister Young defends Paria-Petrojam deal, highlights benefit for Trinidad and Tobago. And in sports, Cricket West Indies unveils new scouting system. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. A 48-hour curfew has been imposed in sections of Ellerslie Pen and Taws Meadows in Spanish Town, St. Catherine. The curfew began at 6 p.m. on Monday and will remain in effect until 6 p.m. on Wednesday, February 5. The boundaries of the curfew are north, from the roundabout traveling along Spanish Town Bypass to Williams Street intersection and Spanish Town Bypass. East, from the intersection of Williams Street and Spanish Town Bypass, traveling to the intersection of Williams Street and French Street. South, from the intersection of French Street and Williams Street, traveling to the intersection of Oxford Road and Spanish Town Bypass. West, from the Oxford Road and Spanish Town Bypass intersection to the roundabout. During the hours of the curfew, persons within its boundaries are required to remain indoors unless otherwise authorized by the person in charge of enforcing the curfew. There's a call for upstanding Jamaicans to volunteer their time and knowledge to become mentors under the Child Diversion branch in the Social Justice Division of the Ministry of Justice. Director of the Child Diversion branch, Vanessa Clark, says the program targets children aged 12 to 17 who come into conflict with the law with rehabilitative services that divert them from criminal judicial proceedings.
Just by its nature, you can understand that some of these children do not have the role models that we'd want them to have. So you can expose them to other ways of thinking, but children learn by mimicking, and they want to be able to see some of these things in action. That is how a mentor comes into play.
Director of the Child Diversion branch in the Ministry of Justice, Vanessa Clark. She says while no specific skills are required to be considered for the mentorship program, persons must be of sound moral character.
Show these children different ways of resolving conflicts, behaving, things such as money management, anger management, different things about development. So we want to be able to expose them to that if they're missing that at home.
Persons who wish to apply to be mentors may access applications on the ministry's website at www.moj.gov.jm or at any of the 14 parish offices.
The skill sets can vary because we assign children according to their needs, and children have different interests, and mentors come from all spheres of Jamaica. So say, for example, a mentor can be a coach of a high school team or can be an attorney. Whatever they are, we provide the training though for the mentors so they're able to understand the requirements, so they don't just go into the process blindly. So they understand, who they'll be interacting with, what the program is about, and our expectations of them.
Companies are being urged to utilize the National Housing Trust's Employer Arrears Amnesty Program to clear up outstanding contributions and become compliant. The program runs up to March 31, 2025, and is aimed at assisting micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises and registered charitable organizations that have fallen behind on their payments. Assistant General Manager for Compliance Management at the NHT, Damian McNally, says businesses must have no more than 50 employees and an annual sales turnover not exceeding $425 million to be eligible for the program. He says successful applicants will receive a waiver of penalty interest on employers' contributions. The amnesty program, which was introduced to support employers struggling with arrears, particularly in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic, has seen significant participation so far. As of December 2024, the NHT had processed just under 400 applicants, approving approximately 325 of them. The program has facilitated the collection of nearly $100 million in contributions. Local civil society organizations funded by USAID are facing an uncertain future as the Donald Trump administration moves to shut down the agency. The decision follows a 90-day pause on foreign aid, pending a review aligned with President Trump's policies. Key Jamaican groups, including Eve for Life and Jamaica Aid Support for Life, are now unsure how they'll continue operations or pay staff. Meanwhile, USAID-funded programs in the Ministries of Health and Education are also expected to be impacted. The announcement came from billionaire advisor Elon Musk, who has been pushing for USAID's closure. In a live session on X Spaces, Mr. Musk described the agency as beyond repair. With USAID's Washington headquarters closed and its website offline, former Jamaican UN Representative Curtis Ward questions whether Trump can legally dissolve the agency, warning it could be used as a tool of coercion in foreign policy. The Bob Marley One Love music inspired by the film won Best Reggae Album, and Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness says he has labeled it a win for Jamaica, our culture, and Bob Marley's enduring legacy of love and unity. He took to his Facebook page and said, quote, "Big up to all the Grammy nominees for keeping reggae strong on the world stage. Let's continue sharing our music, our stories, and our spirit with the world," end quote. In this week's Living Healthy report, we bring you the story of little Ella, who tragically lost her life to an asthma attack at just 9 years old. Since then, her mother, Rosamond Adukisi-Deborah, has been a fierce advocate for the right to clean air. According to the World Health Organization, air pollution claims 7 million lives every year. Air pollution is a contamination of the indoor or outdoor environment by any chemical, physical, or biological agent that modifies the natural characteristics of the atmosphere. Household combustion devices, motor vehicles, industrial facilities, and forest fires are common sources of air pollution.
My daughter was 9, unfortunately, when she died from a serious asthma attack. Ella became severely ill 3 months short of her 7th birthday. I mean, initially we thought she had, like a very severe cold, which turned into a cough. And unfortunately for her, it turned out she ended up with one of the worst cases of asthma ever recorded in this country. It was so frustrating trying to find out what her triggers were. We just couldn't work it out. And sadly, it took until her death when she was admitted in the hospital. And then we looked at the monitor on the South Circular, which is near where we live. And it showed every time there was a spike in air pollution, that's when, unfortunately, she ended up in hospital.
If only the air quality were better in London, Rosamond Kissy-Deborah's daughter might still be alive today.
She was breathing in illegal levels of air pollution, so it wasn't just sort of any old spike. The actual levels were illegal. She was an incredibly healthy child, and if you looked at her GP records and you probably said to even a doctor, where do you think this child is now? They'll probably say, oh, she's probably at university somewhere. She became ill 14 years ago. Air pollution wasn't even something that was considered. Till now, to having it documented, we have come a long, long way. And there is a lot more to learn as we go along, but this is a start. Everyone in health, no matter who you are, you need to be aware of this topic. Knowledge is power. And there is 70,000 plus papers there about the impact of air pollution on health. These are things that all medics need to be aware of going forward. There will be no excuse in future to say, I didn't know about this.
Time now for the Business Report with Denise Williams.
Welcome to today's Business Report. I'm Denise Williams, here to bring you the stories shaping the financial world and guiding your journey to smarter business decisions. Let's dive into the top headlines. Minister of Science, Energy, Telecommunications and Transport, Darryl Vaz, says the multi-million-dollar fuel supply agreement between Paria-Petrojam, Jamaica and Paria Fuel Trading Company, Trinidad and Tobago, is a major milestone in strengthening regional energy security and economic cooperation within CARICOM. Paria-Petrojam Limited, Jamaica's state-owned oil refiner, sent fuel exports to Trinidad and Tobago, securing a deal worth around US $90 million or 14 billion Jamaican dollars. Economist Keenan Falconer says, if you have a worldwide trade war, a fully blown all-out trade war that will necessarily have some sort of impact on Jamaica, that we will have very little ability to influence or mitigate. US President Donald Trump signed an executive order putting a 25% tariff or tax on imports on all goods coming from Canada and Mexico to get both countries to crack down on illegal immigration and drug trafficking. Canada and Mexico have moved to retaliate, with Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau announcing a 25% tariff against the US. Mr. Falconer told Radio Jamaica News that the tariffs could result in general consumer price increases across the board, which could reduce production. Tariffs don't incentivize countries to maximize on production. Jamaica could get caught in all of that as a small, highly import-dependent open economy where we don't control prices. We're not price makers, we necessarily have to be price takers, he noted. Only 11% of Jamaicans are saving towards their retirement. Financial Services Commission FSC data indicates that the total value of the country's private pensions industry was $782.41 billion, or 23.76% of gross domestic product at the end of September last year. The FSC adds that this increase represents 2.2% when compared with the quarter ending June 2024. Meanwhile, the FSC also pointed out that there was 819 pension plans with 164,775 members, but only 364 were active. That works to a total private sector pension coverage being only 11.68% of the total employed labor force of 1.416 million persons as at the end of September last year. For the trading period ending February 3, 2025, these were the most actively traded stocks. Toll road operator Trans Jamaica Highway Limited with 1,756,045 units traded, representing 20.91% of market sales volume. Media conglomerate Radio Jamaica Limited with 1,100,973 units traded, representing 13.11% of market sales volume. Media and Real Estate Group Kintyre Holdings Jamaica Limited with 451,123 units traded, representing 5.37% of market sales volume. We now shift our focus to the Forex market rate set by the Bank of Jamaica. On February 3, 2025, Bank of Jamaica reported US $61.35 million purchased and US $74.54 million sold by Forex traders. Forex traders earned $1.24 per dollar, selling the US at $158.26 and buying the US at $157.02. The Canadian dollar netted Forex traders $5.09 per transaction, with selling at $110.46 and buying at $106.61. The British pound yielded Forex traders $4.58 in profits, with selling at $196.59 and buying at $192.01. For our credit report tip of the day, ready to qualify for a 15-year mortgage but need a credit score boost fast? Over the next 3 months, you can implement these actionable steps to potentially increase your score by 100 points and secure better mortgage terms. Here are some options. First, request a credit limit increase. What you should do: ask your credit card issuer for a limit increase. The action step is to use any available credit wisely to lower your overall utilization ratio. Next, make bi-weekly payments. So what should you do? Instead of one monthly payment, make 2 payments per month. What's this action step? Well, scheduling bi-weekly payments to reduce your balance faster and improve your utilization rate. Then secure a goodwill adjustment for late payments. What should you do? Reach out to your creditors and ask for any goodwill adjustments on any late payments. This action step means that you're going to draft a polite letter or call your creditor this month to request removal of negative marks. And that wraps up today's business report. I'm Denise Williams, reminding you that every financial decision is a step toward your future. Until next time, stay focused, stay informed, and keep striving for success.
In regional news, Trinidad and Tobago's Energy Minister, Stuart Young, is pushing back against reports circulating about the fuel supply agreement between state-owned Paria Fuel Trading Company and Jamaica's Petrojam Limited. He says the claims making rounds on social media are nothing more than, quote, mischief and misinformation, end quote, spread by opposition spokespersons. We have more in this report.
Via a media release dated February 2nd, Paria Fuel Trading Company indicated it is expanding its bunkering services as a means of earning foreign exchange. Paria acknowledged that it entered into a 6-month contract with Paria-Petrojam for the purchase of very low sulfur fuel oil. The maximum total volume of 540,000 barrels is estimated to cost $50.2 million. Paria indicated it received the inaugural shipment of approximately 50,000 barrels from Paria-Petrojam on February 1st.
None of this 500,000 barrels is for domestic. It is being used in our bunkering operations. We're purchasing it. It is marine fuel that is then being sold to vessels that come into Trinidad's waters at a profit. So it is a net foreign exchange earner. And a fraction, 500,000 barrels, compared to 17 million that Paria purchases a year. So this is complete mischief. It changes nothing. in a negative manner for Trinidad and Tobago.
Minister Young said the transaction between Paria and Petrojam is a result of 2 years of negotiations to promote bilateral relations between Trinidad and Tobago and Jamaica.
Despite what bloggers may try to spin on it, and despite what others may try to spin on it, and it is a small part of Paria's operations that also sends strong signals in the promotion of CARICOM. So Trinidad and Tobago, that is what this transaction is about, that is what this deal is about, and we will always try to find ways to assist our CARICOM neighbors.
Since the closure of the Petrotrin refinery in 2018, Paria has been purchasing marine fuel from international suppliers. Minister Young indicated the agreement with Petrojam will benefit Trinidad and Tobago since the fuel comes at a cheaper price.
We're doing it at a profit. So what I can tell you, it is valuable because as one of the areas we intend to diversify in Trinidad and Tobago is our marine traffic. We're going to be building our marine capacity, not only in dry docking facilities, but also we want more vessels. It is this week, you all will see me launch something fuel mixing with methanol. We have these opportunities in Trinidad, so it is part of our plan being rolled out towards diversification.
Jamaica's Prime Minister Andrew Holness, on his official Facebook page, said the supply of fuel to Trinidad and Tobago represents a strategic part of the island's energy policy and is an avenue to earn valuable foreign exchange from non-traditional exports. Karen Kozia-Phillip, TTT News.
A major player in satellite internet is looking to expand into Belize. Starlink Services LLC, owned by billionaire Elon Musk, has applied for a telecommunications license to offer internet services in the country. The Public Utilities Commission is reviewing the application and gathering public feedback as reactions to the move remain mixed. News 5's Marian Ali reports on this developing story.
Starlink has become the latest buzzword in Belize's internet circles. The US-based satellite internet company, primarily owned by billionaire Elon Musk, has applied for a license to provide internet services in Belize. While BTL's chairman, Mark Lizarraga, declined to comment today, BTL was among several entities that wrote to the Public Utilities Commission, PUC, objecting to the service. BTL's letter highlighted concerns that introducing a third internet provider in a country with a small population could significantly disrupt the existing telecommunications systems. This letter to the PUC by Ravai Nandwani states that, quote, "We should not allow any foreign company to provide such a type of service. We have seen what they do, especially this guy. They will take over the market, and if he is personally annoyed with our government's policies, he can deny us access to the internet if he feels. He will also have access to our data," end quote. Additionally, there are concerns about the competitive pressure Starlink services would place on the two existing providers, BTL DIGI and Smart. Critics argue that introducing a new player could disrupt the market dynamics and impact the current telecom landscape. There are also other letters that welcome the service in Belize. These concerns are particularly prevalent among individuals living in remote areas of the country where internet service is either poor or non-existent. Additionally, those developing properties in these regions are also voicing their support, highlighting the critical need for reliable internet access. This letter reflects the author's opinion that Starlink will not directly compete with the current providers. It also points out that land-based internet providers that use fiber optics are faster and more affordable, as opposed to Starlink, which requires purchasing equipment and a monthly charge. News 5 was unable to obtain a comment from the PUC, but an industry insider with extensive telecommunications experience highlighted the recurring issue, the potential for new technologies to cannibalize existing services. This concern has surfaced before, such as when WhatsApp began to replace direct international calls and when mobile cellular technology overtook live paging. This source also recalled the introduction of satellite phones in Belize, which initially sparked fears they would replace mobile phones. However, today, Satellite phones are rarely used, except by large companies and individuals with emergency plans. News 5 understands that the PUC was approached over a year ago by representatives of Starlink with the idea to providing satellite internet in Belize. A reputable law firm contacted the PUC on behalf of Starlink. The company, we were informed, would have to meet all taxes and other obligations if the license is granted. That decision will be made in the coming weeks. Reporting for News 5, I'm Marion Ali.
In sports, we open the innings with cricket. Cricket West Indies has unveiled a groundbreaking data-driven scouting system aimed at identifying and developing the best cricketing talent across the region. This new initiative marks a major shift in player assessment, with senior talent managers, territorial talent identifiers, and a network of scouts now working together to provide a structured, analytical approach to talent identification. With the West Indies Championship as a first major assignment, the scouting team will ensure that every performance is tracked, analyzed, and reported, creating a clear pathway for emerging cricketers to progress to the highest levels. In other news, Trinidad and Tobago faced a challenging start to their FIH Indoor Hockey World Cup campaign in Croatia, suffering a 7-2 defeat at the hands of a dominant Australian side at the Satika Sports Centre on February 3.
Australia's Aidan Dooley was the standout player, netting a hat-trick to lead his team to victory. The match started with Australia in complete control, as they surged to a 3-0 lead in the first quarter, with goals from Thomas Mioto and James Nee. Mioto struck twice within the opening 7 minutes, setting the tone for the match. Trinidad and Tobago showed resilience in the third quarter, with Team Meccano scoring their first goal at the 7-minute 58-second mark, reducing the deficit to 4-1. Meccano's effort was a rare bright spot for the Stickmen, as Australia continued to pile on the pressure. The Australians maintained their composure, adding 4 more goals before Shaquille Daniel, in the dying minutes of the match, added Trinidad and Tobago's second goal, capitalizing on a penalty corner to make it 7-2. Speaking after the match, head coach Rafael Govaya said his team still has improvements to make before their next match against Namibia on February 5th.
Australia moved the ball very quickly. We still created a lot of chances. We won 5 short corners to their 1. We had open play, shots on target. It was just a lot of our shots were off target though. And the keeper made some good saves. Not to my liking, because I find our finishing should be a lot better than that. So that's something we need to work on going forward into the tournament.
And that's it for the news on PBCJ. Pleasant viewing.